in design. um, and so, yeah, I worked a little bit in design. Like I got into this world through music, sort of like I've always been a musician. And so I got here first kind of designing posters for shows, album artwork, that sort of stuff. And then kind of segued into a little more motion design that I wanted to like pair with my music. Like, so doing projections behind my band's live and whatnot. And so that was kind of like my gateway into design and realizing that I first started in computer science, which I love. I love computers and I love code and everything like that, but it wasn't quite as creative as I wanted it to be, at least the entry point that I had. And so design was this kind of perfect medium where it's like I can work with computers and technology and problem solving and logic and systems, all the stuff that kind of tickles that side of my brain. But then I can also just be artistic and expressive and like just kind of be unbound by like the box of the computer. And then personally, there was just that nice correlation to the music world that I came up in. So um, I worked as a creative director at Yellow Brick Group as soon as I graduated from 2018 until I want to say 2021, 2020, somewhere in there. And then I kind of transitioned out of that role into the role as the design director at a company in town called Fathom, which is a little more, so if Yellow Brick Group is a little more in like the branding identity world, social marketing and apparel and stuff like that. Fathom is a little bit broader in that we have a lot of video production. So I started out supporting in motion graphics for like live action video, some animation. And then we had web developers, so like web design, so doing identities for companies and then translating that onto the web. And it's really kind of blossomed into like this really broad multidisciplinary studio. Like we've kind of positioned ourselves to be able to solve kind of any creative problem that our clients throw at us. We work a lot with Netflix. I did the motion identity for the Nickelodeon news show that launched this last year. So I get to like wear a lot of different hats and like play in a lot of different realms. We work a lot with Indeed as well, like the hiring platform. So it's like sometimes it's very corporate branding, identity stuff. Sometimes it's way more fun kids, like television programming. We do like a print magazine for Netflix kids that we send out every quarter. So we do all the publication design for that. So it's a cool, it's a cool place to work, and it allows me to bring the design lens that I learned going to school here into like every sort of like creative challenge that we may get into, even if it's something that I don't really know how to do. Like we can apply our processes to like video production pipelines and whatnot. So I don't want to go too hard on that, but that's what I do. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to collectively brainstorm in FigJam. Are you guys all familiar with Figma and FigJam? Do you use it at all? Do you ever use it? Yes, some nods, some shaking your head. Okay, cool. So Figma is like kind of started as like a way to prototype apps and websites, but its superpower is that it's like a multiplayer design tool, and you can access it in the browser. Like you don't even need, like for what we're doing today, you don't even need an account. We can all kind of just play in here on this infinite canvas. And so, yeah, it just allows real-time collaborative design with like a pretty capable, but like limited tool set. So it's like, it's not as advanced as Illustrator with like its vector editing tools. It doesn't have Photoshop's photo manipulation tools, but it allows you to play with layout and text and, design systems in a way that you can really rapidly iterate, and you can work on something with a team without having to, package up your files and like send them in an email and then they download your files and open them up. So it just kind of hit at this perfect time. I mean, it was around before this, but like when COVID happened and we had to figure out how to run design teams completely remotely and be able to do creative crit, to brainstorm, all of that stuff. Like this pretty much became our de facto tool for doing that. And there's something really unique about Figma's like approach to like product design and their own identity, and that they're very playful across the board. They're all about like it's like a very well-made tool, but it's also very fun. Like they're for instance, they just added this where you can change your cursor up here to like the Doge or 8-bit cursor, that sort of stuff. So everybody can kind of like personally brand their own cursor in here. There's things like you can, wave your hand. You can also, if someone waves their hand near me, well, there's a way to high five somehow. There it goes. Yeah. So there's just like a lot of fun, like kind of delightful things. And what that means in the context of something like this is that like we could even bring clients into this who are not designers or whatnot, and we can give them a link and they can get in here and they can like put down sticky notes and put their ideas down, and we can like do voting exercises on things and whatnot. So it's just a really cool collaborative design tool that like kind of lowers the barrier to entry to like getting the creative juices flowing with the team. So what we're going to do here is this is like a kind of an internal process that we've developed at Fathom, that I've developed at Fathom with my design team, which is about 5 or 6 of us now. So when we were remote, we were like trying to find ways to still like feel like we were, I don't know, like in the same room as each other, interacting. So we decided to make collaborative playlists, just like Spotify playlists that we could all put songs on, all contribute to. And so we started with that. And then I kind of like started to like slowly build on like the intent of it. So it became like we basically started this process. It's a weekly process where we create a playlist. We have one person randomly selected from the team who selects a theme based on something like these stickies that we see up here, which will be like kind of the creative thrust of the playlist. So it can be pretty abstract, like we're not talking like punk music or whatever. We're talking like more emotional type things. Like I think last week was Earthen. Before that was Maximal. So it's just like, how does the team interpret that from an audio standpoint? Like what kind of music is that? We all contribute to that playlist. When that person picks the theme, we do this kind of all live in a meeting together, just like on Zoom or on Google Meet. Then we set a timer, which you have the ability to do in here, for 7 minutes. And we just kind of, while we're there, we like turn on some music. There's actually like a little music player in here. I don't want to, it makes it play on everybody's computer, so I don't want to do that, but it's like a shared little, I don't know, like stock music thing, but it's a way to just like kind of, if you're all like sitting in a Zoom meeting together, to have some sort of noise going, while like a white noise machine while you're brainstorming. So we turn that on for 7 minutes, and we go to the internet, to Pinterest, to Google image search, wherever you find inspo, and we just bring in inspiration around that theme. So here, yeah.
Am I sharing your screen to the Zoom?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Desktop one like this. Oh, good. It's going to make me give this permission. I'm gonna try this one more time. It might make me oh. Is it working? Oh, good. Cool. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, we pick the designer, then we have that designer pick a theme based on the stickies above, and we all brainstorm on that theme for 7 minutes, just bringing in what as divergent as we can be. What is the inspiration? So we did the hero's journey. So, bringing in the classic Hero with a Thousand Faces, which is all about the hero's journey by Joseph Campbell. These different kind of like infographics of what this is. If you aren't familiar with the hero's journey, it's just like a storytelling mechanism by which Star Wars and Dune and fantasy and everything kind of follows, or whatever it may be. That's just like, this is a tried and true formula of telling a good story. So we brainstorm that visually. Then we pick another person who is not that designer, and they pick basically like a prompt or a constraint to put on the designer, who's going to then basically design the album art or the cover artwork for this week's playlist. So in this instance, Lupe, who you might know, asked me to include myself in whatever the composition was. So it can be very loose. These are, again, and then we take 7 minutes and we brainstorm what that is. Like, how do different artists include them? Like, how do they do self-portraits, whether it's a selfie or an abstraction of themselves, a collage. We can also play GIFs in here. There's Frank Ocean during like the Blonde rollout. So yeah, we just collect a lot of inspo and then boot up that playlist, let everybody contribute to it, and we go from there. So fast forward a week. I've spent the week listening to that playlist, going over the inspiration, going over the prompt, and just seeing like what I can come up with based on that. And this is the final result. And so I share that at the following week's meeting. And then I kind of just walk them through a little bit of like the process that I went through to get there. So this is like the selfie of myself that I used, taking a selfie or taking a picture of my friend. You can see that has made it in here. I got off on some like tangent with like this Rococo like ornamentation like illustration that like feels like kind of analogous to like modern tattooing in a way. Like I feel like a lot of tattoos are getting really intricate and like ornamental like this, which I really love. So I was just pulling that sort of inspo. These are from like public domain, Library of Congress or something like that. You can see I kind of used this same hero's journey motif to inform the composition. And yeah, these are just like some things along the process of it. And so I'm just going to quickly bounce over to what this looks like for our team. So here it is week by week by week. So this last week was earthen. So we brainstormed that. The only parameter that I was given was to use clay. And so what is the point of this? So there's a lot of different reasons. One, it allowed us to like feel closer together and have this shared creative experience. It allowed us to put out creative work on a weekly basis that wasn't client-based, so we could actually like explore new techniques. We often give each other prompts to get each other out of the comfort zone that we fall into. Like I'm very much a computer-based person, so usually the prompts I get given are like make stuff physically. So like I had to make this out of clay. The name of this series is called Cherry, by the way. A few weeks ago, they made me draw it with highlighters. So it's really just a way to break out of our comfort zone, to try new things, to have something to design every week where we just get to have fun and express ourselves. We don't take it too seriously. It's really just like spend a couple hours maybe throughout your week doing this. This is the maximalism with the prompt to use a sticker pack. So Brady used a Lisa Frank sticker pack. And this is a physical notebook that she put together, and then you can see some of her process here. So yeah, let me see if there's any other notes about why we do this. So yeah, that's pretty much all the reasons why we do it. It also kind of greases the wheels for like when we actually need to apply a similar process to a real project of like, we know how to find inspiration. We know how to collectively brainstorm on something quickly within a time limit. How to talk about like why we chose the inspiration we chose, like the themes that we see arising in them. So I would love to go through this process with all of you guys. I don't know how to make this go away. There we go. This is like impeding on my work space. So what we're going to do is we are going to first, this is like the beauty of Fig Jam. Let's see, they have all these like little tools and plugins in here to help facilitate like creative exercises, we'll say. So I just found this one basically that will make a list of everybody that's in here. Fong's in here twice somehow. I'm going to save this list. I'm going to remove myself from it. I'm going to remove one of Fong's. And then I'm going to shuffle this. And so April, is April in here? Hey, okay, cool. So we're going to give you just like maybe 3 minutes to go up top here to this. So we're in, so we've picked a designer. I'm going to copy this over here. April. I'm going to put 3 minutes on the clock here. And then you're just going to go up to this yellow section, find a concept. You can also come up with your own if you don't like any of them. And you can also pick one faster than 3 minutes or take longer if you need. So I'm starting the timer now. You guys can all kind of jump up here as well and just like look at them. So often what we'll do is like, we'll just have like maybe monthly brainstorming sessions to add new prompts to this like pool, kind of based on what's inspiring us or what we're feeling kind of like, we've done too many in this other realm. Like, let's get rid of some of those and like, and we usually like cross them off as we do it. And April, whenever you pick one, you can just like drag a copy of it or just drag it down to this kind of section that you see me hovering up here on the screen. Jealousy. Interesting. Yeah, that I like that. I mean, so that has like a lot of interesting implications from a music standpoint, because I feel like there's a lot of like, I don't know, I think of Jolene by Dolly Parton, which I think was just covered by Beyonce on her new album. Oh, we got two. Did you see jealousy and anxious? She's throwing a wrench in the plans. Yeah, totally. So I'm glad you like bring that up, because sometimes when we are working with these more abstract concepts, we have the person who chose it give a little like a little blurb about like what they mean by it. And it's usually not to be prescriptive of like, you can only do this. But like when Lupe chose golden hour, it's like, what does that mean, Lupe? And she's like, well, like soaking in the sun, that outdoors, like enjoying like the dawn or the sunset. There's something wistful about that time. And then that helps us like when we go to like think about songs or something like that, helps us to like kind of curate that a little more strategically. So okay, yeah, somehow now we have three. I'm gonna stop you there, but I love the yeah. So we have all three of these. So we're just gonna pretend they're all one prompt. So now as a group, I'm gonna stop this timer. Let's go to our respective places where we find inspo. So it could be Instagram. Instagram's a little hard to pull in here, but like Pinterest, I use a tool called Arena, which is like similar to Pinterest, but like maybe a little artsier. And we'll take maybe 10 minutes to just find some stuff that either fits in the jealousy category for you. And we're thinking this can be design work. It can be art. It can also be like an article or a link or like a YouTube video to like a movie that you think really represents this well. So it's really, really open-ended. And then at the end of 10 minutes, we will look over everything and see if we see any like emergent themes or anything like that. And I don't know, we might need a little more room than this because I don't usually do it with this many people. So I'm just gonna pull this out and we are gonna get going. I'll play this music. And all I'm gonna be doing is, finding images, copy, paste, and then kind of putting it in this section and kind of sizing it down. And we'll probably just have to collectively move stuff around to make room for everything. I love this. We got 30 seconds left. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, this is a lot. Um, so now let's just like take a couple minutes. I mean, it's interesting because like we have kind of three different concepts that we could have been drawing from. And some of these I feel like there is like some good overlap where they they fit into all three. So generally what we would do at this point is like kind of look for thematic through lines and like maybe even group stuff together. So feel free to like start thinking about that. I'll call out some things that I tend to see in this. It seems like there's a lot of there's a lot of people in this, so it could almost be seen as like self-portraiture or something like that. Like I see this kind of like warping or distorting of self. And you could maybe look at that as like we become someone we don't recognize, like when we're in this state of like anxiousness or jealousy. It's like it's kind of this uncomfortable, distorted state of being. So I see that like here, here, here. Yeah, there's so much of it. This is like a little more emotional. But yeah, it's kind of playing with whether it's light or warping or like surrealism, illustration. Um, that is like a very prevalent theme that I see in a lot of this. Interestingly, a lot of like black and white as well. Like there's something to that, I feel like, is uh like the starkness of it, the kind of somberness of black and white. Um, does anybody else see anything emerging they want to speak to?
There's a lot of stuff with like how that
Definitely. Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah, I hadn't seen that, but yeah, we see that here. We see it with the meme that we all love. We see it here. There was one like I'd say the eyes and mouth are like the most expressive thing going on there. This eye here. So definitely. Um, anything else? Cool. So, I think there's also like, the counterpoint to that. So there's this kind of like really visceral, kind of spooky, or I don't know, serious tone to a lot of this. There's also the kind of funny like FML, the GIF of this, like where it's being a little, it's like an awareness of like this kind of sucks, but it's also not like so serious about it. So there's different like ways to treat this depending on like the message that you want to go for with where we go from there. So okay, now that we have all this, let's do the next stage, which is to pick a prompt. So we're going to do the same thing. I will remove April from this list, and then I'm going to hit shuffle in a second here. So basically what this is going to be is everybody who wants to participate in this over the next week, this will be the prompt that you use based on this playlist that we're going to put together to create some artwork for it. So my hope is that whoever picks this prompt gives us something that's like not too like challenging for people in the midst of schoolwork and work, and you know that it doesn't, it can be whatever you want, but like sometimes we have someone on our team, Brady, who tends to pick like the most complicated prompts. Like she gave Tynan one to basically do a cyanotype, which is like where it's almost like, you use emulsion to like put it on the thing, and then you put like plant matter or something and you put it out in the sun and it has to like expose. And it was great, but it was like a 3-day process for him. So just know that everybody is going to be trying to do this who wants to, who has the time and is like interested in this. And yeah, we'll all contribute to it. I'll put a collaborative playlist out there. Generally, we use Spotify. It's not because we believe in Spotify as a company. It's just what everybody had. So we can also make an Apple Music link, or I don't know if there's any others. There's, I guess, YouTube Music and stuff. So I don't want to be like, picking one tech company over the other, but we'll start there. And if it's a problem for people, we'll figure out an alternative. So Yeah, let's pick a prompt. So this is the prompter. It is fun. You gotta put the camera down. Yeah, so I'm gonna give you 3 minutes on the clock. Oh, not 34 minutes, 3 minutes on the clock here. So in this pink section, there's a bunch of prompts. Take like these are from the Fathom team, so some of these might not be the best for this. Like just use your own discretion, and also feel free to like riff on this if you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, but actually, what if we did this? Like you can come up with one in the moment here that you want.
It's just one of these.
Just one. Yeah. So I'm putting 3 minutes on here. Yeah, so everybody can take the time to read through some of these, and they're loosely categorized under like kind of the different approaches of constraint. So it's like maybe it's the tool that you use, maybe it's the style you design in, maybe there's a layout constraint, maybe there's an activity that you need to do it, or a rule that you give yourself, like not being able to use the undo in whatever program you're using, materials.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember so this, we would just get always a pen, like, I will never let myself.
Erase. Wow.
Like,
That's crazy in the digital age too. Yeah. Yes.
Wild.
Nice. I love that. Okay, with 45 seconds to spare. um, so we're gonna brainstorm this in the same way we just did the previous section. So household objects, like whether that's something super mundane or how people, photography or product design, unconventional places you might like photograph them in or whatever. So this one's a little more abstract, but like, let's see where we end up in another 10 minutes. Here we go. So one kind of like meta thing to consider is like, is there a way you can think about this with the lens of the previous section in mind? Like, what's a household object that relates to jealousy? What's an angular household object? What's an anxious household object? Maybe like your alarm or something, you know? Got about 2 minutes left. Cool. That was it was challenging in some ways, but I really like a lot of what we got here. Um, so I would love for everyone to like pick one thing that you brought in and tell us why, like maybe the most poignant thing that you think, or like funniest or whatever, like whatever comes to mind. So I'll start. So at the very end, I found I was just like looking, I was like, what the hell like else should I search for? So I searched for like mundane objects. And this was on someone's board, which is the dollar bill. And I feel like it relates to anxiety, like around money. It relates to jealousy around money. Angularity, I don't know so much, but yeah, it just kind of it hit both of those like in an interesting way. And I feel like it could be I guess if you crumpled it up or something like that and like took a picture of it, it could maybe get the angularity a little bit, like the pointiness or the spikiness. So I don't know. It felt like an apt metaphor that like somehow managed to bridge all three. So let's go Fong.
I picked this one
I'm gonna follow you real quick.
in laptop. And so the initial concept was talking about jealousy between objects. So like when you replace an object with a new one, I imagine that the old object that becomes obsolete is feeling really jealous. And then you talked about things like angularity and anxiety. For me, when I see something that's super sleek, I mean, like nowadays, things used to be super robust, super heavy, like that type of level. But now with like these dainty little MacBook, like I was scared to bring this one in without like a case, you know. So there is that sense of like anxiety when it comes to these sensitive new objects. And in a way, angularity too. I feel like a lot of these older technological items had a bit more personality and roundness and curves too, whereas now everything is meant to be super sleek and super sort of
Sure.
or at least this image.
Cool. Yeah, I see it. Next, I'll start calling on people. Yeah.
So I have
Uh,
that
What's your name? Sorry, I'm off Tyler. I'm gonna follow your cursor here. Okay, we're following you.
like kind of the first ideas jealousy that the idea of hierarchy. So on like a baseline level, a lot of people will see cars as a way to display their wealth and a way to show their social position. So you can be jealous of someone's status and social position that way. But also when some people get jealous, they do things like keep cars.
Oh, yeah.
So it can be used kind of relates to the angular thing. Keys are very angular in how they look and they can be very structures.
Totally. That's great. And there's also just like the anxiety, like, where are my keys? I gotta leave. Yeah, that's a really good one. Cool. Reese,
Um. What I picked
you in here?
was,
I'm off.
oh yeah, I'm bad.
Okay, you're fine.
I chose this one, the multiple sunglasses, because I feel like it relates to anxiety, because you're like showing your emotion, because people show a lot of their emotion through their eyes. And, angular, because they can be all different kinds of shapes, it really shows, you know.
Oh, we're here, right here?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah.
And, yeah. They can all have- And then jealousy, because I imagine, you know, when people do that look when they put down,
Yeah.
they're like looking at someone like.
Yes.
That's kind of.
That's rad. Yeah, super expressive. Cool. Yeah. Oh, and what was your name? Say again? Emily. Cool.
There's no.
Yeah.
Mad rush in the night. There's also like keeping someone's house.
Yep.
There's also.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. There's like a lot of like, if we were thinking about, if we're trying to include these in a composition, it's like it lends itself, like you said, nicely to like different iterations, whereas something else might, like, you kind of just have to photograph it as it is. This allows you like a lot of different, this is a material that you could work with. So that's great. Yeah. Leia, cool.
Add that this thing could happen, and also jealousy in the way of like it grows like fire. It's kind of just like a pit in your stomach that just like grows and grows and grows, and then sometimes it's destructive if you're so angry, whatever it is that you're jealous about.
Totally. That's great. So I'm going to put, just the ones we talked about so we can easily find them. So we got this. So yeah, there's like in Big Jam, there's all these like little stickers and stuff that you can just kind of grab and drag around. Got this, got this. Money. Car keys. And this. Anyone else? Yeah.
I thought like the cat acting up like Chelsea. On your attention. And this cat is fighting for it. And very stressed. And then I felt all three of them.
That's rad. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because like that's literally what my cat does. Like I don't let her into my office because she doesn't chew on cords anywhere else, but she knows she's not supposed to be in there. And so when she like wants my attention and like I open the door, she'll like bolt in there and then she'll just like start chewing on my like headphone cable or something like that. And it's totally just like, I know this is gonna piss you off and I'm mad at you, so I'm gonna do this back to you. The other thing that is interesting about this, like as opposed to some of the other choices we have here, is like it definitely is like, not that animals are objects, but something in our house like that is like as commonplace, and it also like lends itself nicely to like you know, if so much of our inspiration from the previous one was like expressive or like had an actual like living subject in it, like mostly human in these, but like this is one of the few that actually allows you to do something that's alive. So that's cool. Cool. Does anyone? Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, it's yeah, there's so much there, like with like, I mean, caffeine is a drug, you know, like so like there's like there can be a physical dependence there that like is really stressful if you know, you spent your time buying this or making it and then you don't have time to re-up it. There's also like if you have creamer or milk in it, it's like a problem if you spill it like on your carpet or anything like that. So yeah, totally. Cool. I'll do anybody else that wants to. Yeah.
And using that buttons, like at my old house, there was four buttons, and we have one of each button.
Yeah.
So, like, if I was a button and I got lost, I would be very upset, that would make me jealous. But also like, going to the concept, it could be like, when you're jealous, you kind of lose a sense of self.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Totally. Yeah, like the kind of like the junk drawer approach or like the discard pile like in your house or like the bowl that you have that's just like a bunch of stuff that you don't know where it goes or that's kind of like detritus. Yeah. Oh, we have here as well. Yep. Cool. Does anyone else want to share? We don't have to do everybody, but cool. Okay. Well, yeah, that's all great. So let me make a playlist here. We'll do Spotify. Is everybody okay with Spotify? Yeah. Okay, cool. I think my hope is that even if you don't have an account like with or like a paid account with a free account, that hopefully will still let you contribute to it. So grids. Yeah, well, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a collaborator link here. So hopefully if you click this, it will allow you to add it to your list. So like, let's start with what we said, Dolly Parton, Jolene. And we'll also do Beyonce's Jolene. So if anyone has a Spotify account, just so we can test this really quick to see if that link allows you to add songs. It does? Cool. So this is like up to your own discretion. Don't like constrain yourself too much. Like if something feels like it fits any of these themes for any reason, sometimes we get like really literal with it. So it's like the golden hour one. It's like we put a bunch of songs that had golden in the title. But you know, so it could be that, it could be, yeah, however you choose to interpret it, whether it's the feeling that the song gives you, the lyrics, the name of the song, any of that stuff. So yeah, you can all contribute to this and like what I tell the team at my work is just like to encourage them to actually listen to it, to like expose themselves to music outside of what they would just choose. And it's also a way to kind of like share the aux cable. So it's not just like one person in the office controlling what we're listening to. We can all contribute to it. So that link is here. This FigJam link will stay like collaborative for anybody for the next 24 hours. And I think you will still be able to at least access it and see what's in here after that. You just might not be able to add new stuff. But I can open it up again. So let's just quickly talk about like how to approach this. So there's no like there's no real like rules of what you have to include, at least on the way that we do this. Like we call this at our work, we call it cherry. So you'll see that most of our compositions have that on there in some way, shape, or form. Cherry. So we don't really have a title for this. It could be, we could just use the, jealousy or something like that if you want typography, or angular, jealousy, anxious. So I generally like to have some sort of typographic element in any of the composition. I feel like it just helps make it feel more designerly. So a lot of times what I'll do is we'll just look at some of this other stuff. Like I'll make a list of the people that are like contributing to it. Like maybe if someone else were to, let's look at one of these. So this is one that we have going currently. I can see like who added what songs. So I might put everybody's like handle on the composition somewhere, like as collaborators. I generally use this sort of like naming convention, which is 2024-04 being April, and then dash being the theme, but we're just going to go with grids. So you could put that on there somewhere. So yeah, I would encourage you to like play typographically, to play with like photography, to play with whatever kind of like whatever speaks to you, to like try to get to a composition you want to get to. And I generally with this stuff, I try to keep it pretty expressive and like not too constrained. Like I kind of just see where things lead me. Like, okay, I'll take some photos of household objects, I'll bring them into Photoshop, I'll like play with them, I'll see what's working, I'll add some typography and then completely remix it, or like go shoot something else. Like I don't have like an end goal usually at the outset that I'm like striving for. That's just me. Maybe you want to have like something you are really trying to capture because you have a vision in your head. I also encourage you like to go back and look at the inspiration, and also to like kind of look through everybody else's inspiration that they've brought in, because it might spark something in you that like once you start listening to music, thinking of the themes, it might like give you an idea, like a creative idea of like how this could be represented. Please don't put your MacBook in your pool though. Cool. Oh, really? Let me try. Yeah, let's try this again. Invite collaborators. I'm going to put the link. Oh, am I not in Zoom? I feel like I'm in Zoom. Where is it? Chat. Try this link in the Zoom chat. Let me try just doing it like as text. It's a lovely link. Make this smaller. Okay, I see people's names in here as collaborators. See Alyssa, April, Leah, Fong, Reese now. But Oh, April has added a song. I don't know Orla Gartland. So yeah, sometimes like I don't know, like you might need to like there's like a plus button that allows you to add it over there. Pong, Leah, is it in the app or is it like on the browser that you're opening it? Spotify. Huh. I don't know. I will tell you that like we run into like Spotify, I feel like they developed their product first for mobile because most people are on it. And like a lot of times features are weird on computers because they're like probably just prioritize the other. But nice, Patsy Klein. Um Rad. I'm eager to like I hope you guys keep contributing to this like throughout the week as you think about it. Um And so let's go back to like a little bit of high level. So this is like a process that I developed with my team kind of through trial and error. Like we didn't start with this. We kind of got to this place and it's still evolving to this day. Um, so I would encourage you to just like to think about how to like facilitate like the conversations or the creative exercises that you need to have like using tools like this. So to get to this process, we basically kind of did the same thing in like FigJam. We like came up with a bunch of ideas. It's like, what are the steps that we need to take to get to something every week? Like, okay, like we didn't initially have a time to actually even share what we created. It was just like someone would make it and then I just like kind of post it. And so then we started building in like, okay, let's do like a 15-minute meeting every Tuesday where the person gets to talk about like how they actually did it. So yeah, like I said, like if you're working like collaboratively on a team, if you do these like little like kind of quick exercises where you just like let's put 5 minutes on the clock, everybody like put down a sticky of like as many prompts as you can come up with, and then we can like do a voting exercise like with like sometimes we just make little shapes. It's like Fong's a triangle, I'm a square, and Reese is a circle, and then we have like everybody gets like 3 votes or something like that. And then it's just a matter of like, okay, let's each, put a vote on like what we think is the best prompt. And like, then we can kind of come to consensus around stuff and like quickly converge on ideas and like facilitate discussion, allow everybody to like have a say in things, especially when they're like not always comfortable like raising their hand or speaking up like in a group meeting. Sometimes doing these exercises helps facilitate that. Some general etiquette stuff like when doing this sort of work is like to not delete other people's ideas or inspiration that they bring in unless it's like part of the exercise, like we're like, okay, like we have all this stuff, like let's synthesize this, get rid of the stuff that's like kind of unnecessary and like get it down to some ideas. So like just make sure it's agreed upon when you're moving people's work around or deleting or changing things. And then, yeah, we got about 10 minutes left. So I would just open it up if anyone like has any questions about this sort of stuff or just design industry in general. I'm really happy to answer any questions that you might have. Yeah.
So what were some like criticisms to this exercise?
Yeah. So that's a good question. We let's like look at our FigJam. So it kind of okay, so this is good. So how we got to this concept is like I kind of came to the team and I was like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Pitchfork. It was once a music institution. It's a music review site. It's kind of fallen from relevancy a bit, but they still are good journalists and they have historically had like a good design team. So they have their weekly playlist called Selects, where it's just music that has come out that week. And they always did this banner. And they just basically every week have like a different illustrator or designer treat it in a way that was interesting. And this is how it started. It started like really sick. And then they kind of, I feel like it got to be too much. And they started doing like these like kind of more pared down versions for a while. Although I think they started getting back. This might have been like a period of like, we don't have the bandwidth. And then it started getting really creative again. But I kind of wanted to emulate something like this to like, to create like a consistent design thing. So at the end of the year, we're going to have 52 different iterations of like kind of the same concept. So really I just brought this to the team and we brainstormed like, what are we going to name this? So this is the voting exercise that we see here. And you see everybody has a different color dot. And we landed on Sherry. You know, like we made like everybody made a case for like why they liked each one. And so this was like all it was at first. And then it was like, okay, like we'll make a playlist. And we started out just like everybody contributes like hundreds of songs to a playlist with no theme or anything like that. It's just like what you're listening to right now. And to me, it was like, I don't love playlists that like are like jarring song to song, where it's just like it's setting a mood and then it's like completely different and then completely different. So I was like, I'm going to take a curator role here and be like, we're all going to put stuff on here, but I'm going to try to find like the musical through line to come up with like a cohesive arc sonically. And in that, like, I always honor stuff that is contributed by everybody. I like, if there's 10 people contributing, I'll put like 2 songs from each person. I just try to make sure people like, it's like, give me more than 2 songs to choose from in case it like doesn't fit with where everybody else is going. So it evolved to that. And then we kind of just built the process around it, where it's like, we didn't have like the brainstorming, we didn't have the prompting, we didn't have the themes. It was more so, sorry, we did have pretty soon into it, we started picking themes. And then we kind of ran into the roadblock where it was like, okay, we have a theme, but like, I don't know what, like, that means something musically, but what does that mean visually? Like, and so then we needed like, okay, well, we need like a brainstorming exercise where we can like come up with inspo together and talk about it and then like look at it together. And so that all just like helped us to have, like I said earlier, like to have those same conversations when we're actually brainstorming on a client project or something. So yeah. And so that's one of the cool things about, you know, this kind of infinite whiteboard that is Fig Jam, is like, I kind of have the legacy of like where this started up here as just like an idea to like, you know, where it is now, where it's this kind of like structured process week by week, where we can kind of like see all this. We can go back and we can click on the old playlists and find them. We can, you know, if we were to even get like another creative brief from a client that's like, this somehow aligns with something we've already brainstormed, we could go back and look at all this inspo or something like that too. So yeah. 7 minutes. Yes, Reese. That's a good question. So I would counter and say, okay, well, there are some things I do look for, which is like professionalism, in the sense of like, this person like responds to messages, like is prompt, like does what they say they're going to do. But when it comes to skill set or something like that, it depends on the role. Like there's some people that we have on our team that are like very good at one specific thing, or like a specific kind of type of design, like production design or whatever it may be. And they're not really looking to to be like the creative director on the project, like, and that's good. We don't need like 10 creative directors and nobody who like is really willing to get their hands dirty and do the work. So there's like a lot of different roles that people fill. And like the biggest, the thing that is like the most, like I look for the most or like value the most is people on my team who are just like kind of like volunteer for things, or like they don't like wait to be told to do something. If someone like on the video team is like, hey, I need like a thumbnail for this, or like we need like some titles for this video that we put out. Does anybody have any bandwidth? They don't wait for me to like get out of my meeting to then be like, wait, what are we doing? And then like, okay, who has time? They're just like, hey, I'm free, like I can do this. And like, that's maybe a little bit specific to the way that we work as a company, but I would imagine that most would value that, where it's just like people are taking the initiative to volunteer themselves for things. Other thing is like communication and like asking questions. Like I'm way more happy to like help someone like get to a solution or get past a roadblock when they like get stuck, and like them admitting that they don't know what to do versus them sitting on it for a week and then like we check in a week and they haven't gotten anywhere. They've gone down some like crazy path. So those are two, really, really useful qualities. Four minutes. Yeah.
You have a favorite of the cherry series?
That's a great question. So I started building out this grid so one of the benefits of like having this structured process is like where everything is kind of cataloged in one place. I can really quickly like organize all this, and then my like long-term goal is to somehow put this on our website in some way and like share the playlist in a way that's tool like platform agnostic, so it's not just Spotify. But so I just say that to say I have it all here for the most part. I would say this is one of my favorites. It's a video. Does this let me play the video? I'm trying to think where I could find that. Let me see. I might have it on my phone. But basically, Dogs Barking is a band that 4 of the dudes who work at my work are in. And that is because Matt, who is our like post-production supervisor, who like handles like editing of videos and whatnot, he basically hired all his friends to help him edit videos. So they went on tour to Japan last year. And so this playlist, I had Zach, who's in that band and is one of the editors, curate a playlist of all of the bands that they were going to play with in Japan on their tour. So he put together, this was kind of like a guest feature where instead of like all of us contributing, I just had him curate a playlist. And then I did just a motion graphic thing of their name. I would love to share this. Let's see if I can find it. And I did this when I did the initial like animation when I was at home, but then I was in Portugal when we put this out. And so like I had to download on my phone just like I was like, I want to put like a VHS filter on this. And so I downloaded some weird iOS like VHS filter thing and like ran my video through it. And like it was probably one of the most frustrating things in the world was like trying to like update like my Spotify picture like from my phone in Portugal with like limited internet. But it came through. And so I really like just like the concept behind it, and also the like the vibe of the overall video. So let me airdrop this to myself. Yep. Imagine that goes to downloads. Cool. So you can see I like crunched the blacks a little more than we see here. But yeah, it's basically like a simulation where it turns like into these balloons and then goes back together. So I did this in a program called Houdini, and it seamlessly loops back to itself. So yeah, I thought it was like a cool, kind of feels like Akira in a way. Yeah. I think this says cherry in Japanese, but I don't know. It does? Good. Yeah. So cool. I think that's it. We're at time. Cool. Cool.
Bye, everybody. Is anybody in here?